and welcome to another edition of the SHIB Worldwide 50/50 Raffle. We're going to kick things off with the 14,887.91 added to the SHIB community in the form of a burn of 1.026 billion SHIB gone. Bye-bye! And massive shout out to the Philippines for letting me host this amazing event for you live and in person. Of course, we are here to appreciate everything that we are doing for the SHIB community, and we're hoping that we can deliver on this amazing event with massive reductions as we kick things off. And yes, Jason Cox is in the house. Woo! Massive love shout out to Jason. Woo! Massive shout out to Rowena, and Babe's channel. Massive shout out to you. Massive shout out to the Navarro family for letting me host this. And massive shout out to everybody in the Philippines. Woo! We want to kick things off and going crazy. Awesome. Thanks for, awesome, Jason. And no problem. Yes, 14,887.91 given back to the entire SHIB community. That is awesome. That is amazing. That is over 27,900 and something given back in 3 days. Woo! That is amazing. That is awesome. That is how you do it, my friends. And that's what the SHIB Worldwide 50/50 Raffle is all about, is reducing the circulating supply, adding more value to every single person on the planet that's in SHIB. That is absolutely insane. And we want to make sure that everybody in the world hears that message, because apparently it's not getting out to everybody. That when SHIB reduces its circulating supply, it's adding that value back to the shareholders. So it's like a little piece of land that you got. Now it just expanded that much more. And of course, if you want to sell that land at a lower price, knock your socks off, right, Jason? If you want to buy a piece of land and you're willing to sell it for less than you paid for it, you know what you can do with it, right? It's that simple. And people are happy to get rid of it. I don't understand it myself. I try and explain it to them. I don't know how else I can explain to you better than that. That's exactly what you're doing. You're actually giving it back to somebody for nothing, and taking the loss or just taking a little bit of credit for it. But when you're talking about real estate, it adds value constantly, every second, every day, because there's less supply and more demand, right? So that's the whole purpose of the whole concept of SHIB in the first place. You have to understand what it means and what that drastically imposes on people. So you have to get to know them. Okay, everybody wants to get into real estate. Everybody wants to get into real estate, but they can't afford it because it's too damn expensive. SHIB is so cheap, and it's reducing the circulating supply, so it's actually increasing the land mass. If that makes any sense, as you reduce the circulating supply. So you look at it as rising, tide rising and falling. Same idea with a piece of land. So the more we reduce, the more it builds up the land. And then there's more available, but there's less people that can obtain that. Make sense? So that's the whole purpose of the metaphor of the land idea. I think that that's a better grasp of the concept than just saying that SHIB is reducing its circulating supply. 1.026 billion gone forever. Salute to the in the morning. Amazing grace. Right, exactly. So without getting too far into it, we're going to talk about the SHIB Worldwide 50/50 Raffle, and what the SHIB 50/50 Raffle promises to do differently than this. I want to imagine that 1,032 people buy 20 tickets. Okay, that's not a lot of people out of the world. And is that sustainable? It's more than sustainable. That's ridiculous, actually, when you think about it. How many more raffles do you need that would be in support of reducing SHIB circulating supply that would benefit the entire world? None. None of them. Your 50/50 raffle, 50% goes towards your charitable donation to wherever you want it to go to. 50% goes back into, and then there's administration cost. They don't talk about the administration cost because the administration cost is usually around between 10 and 20%. Majority of them are now there is another SHIB raffle out there, and it was split 50/50, but then if you look at the bottom numbers, it's not 50/50. It's 25% goes back to the SHIB community. 25% goes back to the SHIB community. but it goes right straight into the ecosystem development team, and then they decide how much they want to reduce SHIB circulating supply. It wasn't very successful because how they split it up was just like 35% went to the winner. 35% went to the winner. So it's not a 50-50. It's not even close. So, and then of course, the winners that were taking advantage of it, or people that were taking advantage of it, were the SHIB 50, were the SHIB community, the ecosystem development team, not SHIB community itself, because SHIB community by itself has got zero governance. It's investors for investors. Make sense? So SHIB Worldwide 50/50 raffle, we did have 7 people come on to the website, SHIB5050raffle.com, SHIB5050raffle.com. We had 7 people come onto the website yesterday. So when we only have 7 people dropping in to say hi, that tells you right there that there's just no way we're selling 1,032 tickets. We need 30, 50,000 viewers every single day. We need 100,000 to 200,000 to guarantee us 80,000. The whole idea is to build on the foundation of the SHIB 50/50 raffle. So every time we do a reduction in SHIB circulating supply, adds value. So this would be a massive driver for everybody taking part in SHIB 50/50 raffle. And everybody would be like, wow, that's actually doing something that's going to benefit every single person that's in SHIB. That's going to be truly amazing. And everybody would start to get enthusiastic all over the world about this 50/50 raffle and what it's supposed to do. Now, for some reason or another, I'm not sure why, and maybe Jason can help me out, why it's having such a hard time getting to get that worldwide recognition. Like even the SHIB IO want nothing to do with us. So that's the ecosystem development team. They want to push. They don't want to push the narrative, but they did come out with something new and exciting, and that's more of adoption. But it's on Shibarium, and it's being procrasted from Shibarium. So please keep that in mind. It is taken with a grain of salt, of course, because anything from the ecosystem development team usually implies that it's going to have some sort of impact on them, not on anyone else. So, yeah. What is that supposed to do? It's supposed to give more communication drops for purchases using SHIB. Okay, so that you're able to reduce SHIB circulating supply when you purchase anything through their constituents. So if you were to go in and buy a platform or trade on Shibarium, they're going to give you a kickback and come up with a reduction in SHIB circulating supply. But they've done this before with the burn rates, right? They've tried this before with no major success because they keep hard forking it, making it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper for people to use it, for more people to use the Shibarium. But people are catching on to the Shibarium's tactics, where it's more reach for bone, more reach for the validators, more reach for leash, more reach for treat, it's got zero to do with the SHIB worldwide. Period. The whole SHIB token or tokenomics or SHIB itself, Shiba Inu token, it's got very little to do with that. It's got more to do with helping them achieve their goals, increasing their wealth. And they're trying to do that now through adoption. So they're providing cards now so that you can buy and sell your SHIB on their blockchain. They offered this before. This isn't new, but every time that there's a massive reduction in SHIB circulating supply, they want to take some sort of credit for it. I kept telling everybody the exact same thing. It's going to be the exact same thing with us. When we start the raffle, we get this raffle going, it's going to be the exact same thing. They're going to try and take the credit from SHIB Worldwide 50/50 raffle, saying this was their idea, this is their burns, and I've done this for over 2 years. I've just started selling tickets within last November. I won't say October, but November. And then we had a couple withdrawals of couple withdrawals. What I mean by couple withdrawals is that we had a couple markdowns where the tickets were available, but no one could buy them. So that's the withdrawal. So that's what I'm talking about, withdrawals. so everybody understands that concept. We did do some massive burns in the last 72 hours, which is amazing. It's over, like I said, $27,000 that was given back to the SHIB hold wallets. And if you notice, how many people actually care about the burns? Like it's phenomenal, right? Right now we're at 403,885. I mean, it takes them 2 days to realize that, hey, wait a second, these burns actually do make a difference. Yeah, they do make a difference. They do add value every single time that there's a reduction. And if you're not paying attention, you are going to get smacked hard. And that's the thing. It's not like every other currency that's out there. It's not. And that's what we've been trying to promote from day one. That SHIB is on its own. And I can understand Michael Burry now when he was trying to tell people, listen, the housing has a bubble back in 2006. He predicted by 2007 that we'd have a crisis, and no one listened to him. Everybody's like, no, get me the hell out. I want my money. I don't care what the loss is. I want out. Because if we keep this up for 2 years, we're going to be flushed out of money. And he's like, you just got to be patient. Hey, Babes Channel, massive shout out to you. So we'll do the shout outs now, Jason, and we'll do the shout outs, Babes. So we're going to do a worldwide shout out to everybody. Okay, so USA, massive shout out to you. China, massive shout out to you. Germany, massive shout out to you. Massive love shout out to Japan. Massive love shout out to India. Massive love shout out to the UK. Massive love shout out to France. Italy, massive love shout out to you. Brazil, massive love shout out to you. Canada, massive love shout out to you. Argentina, massive love shout out to you. Australia, massive love shout out to you. Austria, massive love shout out to you. Belgium, massive love shout out to you. Greece, massive love shout out to you. Massive shout out to Ireland. Korea, massive love shout out to you. Mexico, massive love shout out to you. Netherlands, massive shout out to you. Finland, Norway, Sweden, massive love shout out to you. Massive love shout out to Poland, Portugal, massive love shout out to you. Russia, massive love shout out to you. Saudi Arabia, massive love shout out to you. Spain, massive love shout out to you. Sweden, massive love shout out to you. We already mentioned you already. Taiwan, massive love shout out to you. Turkey, massive love shout out to you. Okay, so Africa. So we have the Congo. We have, used to be Zaire. I don't know if Zaire even exists anymore. Darfur, massive love shout out to Nigeria, massive love shout out to South Africa, massive love shout out to the Congo, massive love shout out to Ivory Coast, massive love shout out to Peru, Brazil, Colombia, massive love shout out to you. Venezuela, massive shout out to you. Panama, massive love shout out to you. Costa Rica, massive love shout out to you. Argentina, we already said Argentina, right? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Getting a little ahead of myself. Where we got the map. The map. Hold on to your party hats, everybody. Just going into something. Okay. I'm missing a whole bunch. That's why I have to go in and see. New Zealand, massive love shout out to you. Australia, massive love shout out to you. How could I forget that? Indonesia, massive love shout out to you. Massive love shout out to, where are we here? Thailand, massive love shout out to you. Kazakhstan, massive love shout out to you. Mongolia, massive love shout out to you. Massive love shout out to Turkey. Belgium, massive love shout out to you. Algeria, Libya, massive love shout out to you. Egypt, massive love shout out to you. Israel, how can we forget about Israel? Massive love shout out to you. Massive shout out to Iran, Iraq, massive love shout out to you. Massive love shout out to Sudan, Chad, Mali, how can we forget about Mali? And massive shout out to you. Angola, massive love shout out to you. Nebia, massive love shout out to you. Bosnia, massive love shout out to you. Zimbabwe, massive love shout out to you. Massive love shout out to Somalia, massive love shout out to you. Tanzania, massive love shout out to you. Madagascar, massive love shout out to you. Who else is there? Nicaragua, El Salvador, massive love shout out to you. Am I missing? Vietnam. How could I forget about Vietnam? Massive love shout out to the Vietnam. Massive shout out to DJ Ryan. I'm gonna miss somebody. Krish Vishaw. Massive love shout out to you guys. Massive love shout out to Paul, Krish, Joe, Ramel, Greenland, Iceland. Massive love shout out to you. I don't think I've missed anyone. Ireland. I already got you right, Ireland. Massive love shout out to you. France, Germany, massive love shout out to you. Poland, massive love shout out to you. Ukraine, massive love shout out to you. Romania, massive love shout out to you. Greece, massive love shout out to you. Italy, massive love shout out to you. Bulgaria, I'm pretty sure I got them. Massive love shout out to you. Russia, of course, massive love shout out to the big brother. First largest country in the world. Czechoslovakia, of course, massive love shout out to the Czechoslovakians. Greenland. Yeah, so I think I got everybody in the world. Antarctica, I didn't forget about you. I almost, but I didn't. Massive love shout out to you. We want to get everybody in the world. This is a worldwide event, people. This is why we do these things, because it's worldwide. It doesn't matter where you are. You can trade SHIB. If you're in the Philippines, OKX, they have almost 10 trillion SHIB. So they're kind of solidified. If they base everything in SHIB, they will be solidified in making money, hand over fist, because now what they can do is they can start reducing the circulating supply, increasing demand, increasing inflows. And what does that mean? More price action, positive. It's not just a win-win scenario. It's a win-win all the way through. Always reducing circulating supply is going to increase the value. Always. Will it reflect in the price? Eventually, it will reflect in the price, because people will start to realize, they haven't realized it yet, but there's actually less supply for everybody to take. And I mean everybody. I mean 8 billion people on the planet to take advantage of it. Right now, it is less than a penny. So everywhere in the world can afford SHIB. Everyone, because it's lower than your currency trading right now. That means that you can buy even a small inkling of it, and it will have astronomically effects as it increases in value over time. No, it can explode like that in a heartbeat, guys. It's that simple. It's just people aren't paying attention to the value. And how do I know it's going to explode just like that? I don't. Okay? Nobody can predict SHIB. But do you want to be in it, or do you want to be out of it? Because right now we only have one, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. The three things that you have to look at when you're trying to sell SHIB is you want to look at how much, what are the burns like? Okay. The first thing you do is go in and find out how many people are holding SHIB. Right now we have 1.52 million out of 8 billion people. That should scare the bejeebers out of you if you're not in it. If you're in it, you're like, hey, wait a second, I'm in it. I don't really care. Okay. But those that aren't in it, that should scare the piss out of you, because in a heartbeat, I mean a heartbeat, it takes 3 days to open a wallet. It takes 1 second to put the money into SHIB. So if you look at it from that point of view, SHIB could just explode 10 billion, not 10 billion, 5 million, 10 million. Remember, wallets aren't people. Please keep that in mind. Majority of the people hold 3 or 4 wallets. Okay, do they hold money in them? Some of them, you have to have money in them in order for them to be considered SHIB. So please keep that in mind. They have to have money. Now, some of them don't have very much money in them, and that's fine. Right now, everybody should be able to afford 1 million SHIB in the world. 500 million people were to buy SHIB. There's not enough supply for them. 400 million people try and buy 1 million SHIB. There's not enough supply for you. 200 million people try to buy 1 million SHIB. There's not enough supply for them to acquire that much. It's going to drive the price through the roof, period. So why do we tell people only buy a lottery ticket's worth? Because a lottery ticket's worth of SHIB is approximately 1 million SHIB, $14. Right now it's $14.25 USDD to buy 1 million SHIB. So that gives everybody an opportunity in the entire world to buy a lottery ticket's worth of SHIB. Now, no matter where you are in the world, please treat it like the exact same thing. It's a lottery ticket. You don't need to spend a lot of money in SHIB. Trust me. At 1.5 million wall holders is a drop in the bucket. But it's going to catch on eventually when you're adding value to something, constantly adding value to something. It's going to drive the price up because people are going to start realizing, wait a second, this isn't printing any money. It's not minting any money. It's constantly reducing its circulating supply. Isn't that a win-win situation for me? Exactly. That's exactly what that means. And Jason yesterday was talking about dividend stocks, about when SHIB gets to that point where it's a dividend. You got to understand when that happens, you're in a different ball game than where you think you are. Right now, it's just speculation. So right now, SHIB only has 1.5 million wall holders. So what does that mean when it only has 1.5 million wall holders? It means it has enormous potential. No, it's just that people haven't caught on to it, and at any moment, SHIB could explode or erupt at any particular time of the day, night, or whatever, right? That's the truth of it. I like to say that it's 1,000 times better than Bitcoin, but you can't really say that because it's not Bitcoin. Okay, this SHIB is not Bitcoin. It doesn't go on the same characteristics as Bitcoin, and it hasn't caught on like Bitcoin has. Okay, so with all that respective, I'm pretty sure that the governments are withholding it because they're afraid that once it gets out, that everybody's going to start being a bank, and they're going to start exchanging money quickly, fast, and easily with lower interest rates because it can push that narrative on everything. So if you wanted to go with corporations where they're charging, 7 to 8% monthly returns on their investments, because let's face it, business loans are usually 90 to 120 days. That's their expiration. And the max, what they charge is around 7 to 8% to host those events because you're taking on a lot more risk based on the fundamental facts of how things are progressing throughout the world. And with the tariffs that are looming, it's scaring too many people. It's basically just common sense interactions. But people are treating it like, I think they want that inflow of uncertainty into the marketplace. And that's what the driving factor is. Even though Trump was in power before and he had tariffs on. And you notice that everything has gotten to the point where they just exploded it out of sight is because they're all afraid that what's going to happen with the market. Are you kidding me? This happened 5 years ago. The exact same thing happened 5 years ago. And nothing changed then. What has changed now? Nothing. He's just pushing the narrative even further. That's all he's doing. And then people are getting scared. No. They're causing a panic in the marketplaces. That's it. And it's got nothing to do with anything other than adding more power to the U.S. government. It's got nothing to do with anything. And the whole perspective of this is just insanity. Does that make sense, Jason? The narrative for the tariffs is just fear mongering from the media. Is absolute fear mongering from the media. It's propaganda that's posted. This happened when he was in power last time. It's nothing new. Same thing with Canada, right? The big narrative is, and if you remember the last time that Trump was in power, I don't know, people forget really fast. I don't know why, but they do. They forget really fast. When Trump was in power last time, what were the benefits of him being in power with the tariffs? He even said this himself. I have a 10 to 15% percentage tariff on Canada, but Canada's trading at 25% from the US dollar. 25%. That means it's still technically you're getting a 10% discount on all goods and services from Canada. Doesn't matter what the narrative is. Doesn't matter what the tariffs is. If they're 25% right now, you're getting a 35% discount from the Canadian dollar because Trudeau killed the dollar. He printed more money than we could ever bloody freaking. I don't understand the guy myself. He printed more money. He's like Joe Biden. Just keep printing money. Bail yourself out by printing more money. Don't matter how much money you spend. You can always bail yourself out. But when you only got 43 million people and you want them to bail you out, it's ridiculous. It's just insanity. And that's taking away value. That's depleting your dollar. Our dollar, same thing, is depleting the dollar. It's not adding value to it. It's depleting it. The more money you print, the worse the dollar gets. That's the truth of it. So if you're all about printing more money, all you're going to do is push the Canadian dollar down further. And that means that we can buy less goods and services from other countries. That's the bottom line. So then we're not exporting. We are exporting, yes, but we're not importing anything. So then everybody kind of gets pissed off at us because we're Canadians and we're not importing any goods and services because it's too damn expensive for us to import, and no one's going to buy it. So why would you keep the narrative going? That's the whole point of it. So we are devaluing our dollar. SHIB is increasing the value of their currency, and we're decreasing the value of ours. U.S. every single day, the value of the U.S. currency every single second, every millisecond is acquiring another 10, 15,000. Can you imagine 10,000 a second, 20,000 a second, 100,000 a second in debt, increasing that amount. And you wonder why you're in such trouble, or why you can't get out of it. And then you have SHIB, who's adding value, but you have no problem understanding that, hey, I don't want to be in SHIB because it's uncertainty. We don't know if it's going to go up or down. We don't know if it's going to be consistent. What do you mean if it's going to be consistent? You're seeing it being consistent. It's removing its circulating supply daily, right? And if it's not daily, it's constant. So it's almost every other day or every day, it's reducing its circulating supply. With the raffle, all the raffle is going to do is speed things up drastically. All the raffle is going to do is increase the amount that we're burning every single day because we're 24 hours a day. And the only reason why we can host it 24 hours a day, it's not easy to host a raffle 24 hours a day, guys. It is not. I have to constantly come on. I got to constantly come up with activities that are going to be proactive and help everybody in the world understand what this means for every single person that's in SHIB. And everybody should be excited that comes into the show. Your adrenaline should be pumping, just pumping. I'm going to make so much money that it's insane. And it is. It really is. And that's why we don't like doing predictions. That's why we have a hard time doing predictions on the show. We entertain the thought of predicting 1 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent. But realistically, someone says, SHIB's never going to go to $1. Be like, yeah, I understand that concept because you know why? SHIB isn't anywhere near goddamn dollar right now. If you looked at the price, you got to be a realist, right? You got to be a realist at some point and say, okay, well, where's the price right now? And that's the bottom line. Where's the price right now? So is it reflective in the amount that's outstanding in circulation? No, because the amount that's in circulation is not being traded every single day. The amount in circulation is not being traded. There's only 20 to 30 trillion SHIB that's constantly being traded daily. Okay, maybe, let's see, I'll have a look at this right now. Right now we are at 2.5 trillion in trades right now. So there's more sellers than there are buyers. That's the bottom line. When we have more sellers than buyers, the price goes down. We have more buyers than sellers, the price goes up. The more people coming in adds value, but if you have more sellers, those sellers, by the way, they don't have to be massive, right? It can be people who own billions of SHIB selling it. And then it's going to drive the price down because, well, let's face it, they're the ones in control of what's going on with SHIB. How many millions is that? It isn't. It's 2.5 trillion, 2.56 trillion. So the amount of money is, where is it here? It's somewhere here. I know it is. 4 zeros 3876. These are traders that have zero clue of what's going on. Zero. Not a clue. Because if they had a clue, they would stop selling it because they're taking a loss. Like literally taking a bath right now. And they're the ones forcing it to take a bath. And then everybody that's coming in eventually are going to be coming in and buying it up, driving it to the 18, 19 buy next couple days, probably around the 20 mark, and that's still undervalued, drastically undervalued. So that tells you just how much we're undervalued right now, right? 56 billion was removed. The price went up and then shot down because you didn't see that consistency with removal of SHIB circulating supply. Even though the SHIB circulating supply continued to diminish, they still traded it like it isn't, which baffles the mind, right? It completely baffles the mind. At some point, people would be like, wait a second, I'm selling this off because it's not reducing as much as it once was, or am I not? I'm selling off because the rest of the market is selling off. They're reducing, they're taking their money off the top because everything else is going down. Because they're still under the illusion that Bitcoin controls SHIB or the markets control SHIB. No. It's the investors that control SHIB. So you're the investor. If the rest of the market sells off, it's on you, okay? Because you know for a fact that we're back where we were before the reductions of 56 billion SHIB were removed. We're back at that level. So if we're back at that level before the 56 billion, why are we back at the level that we reduced that much circulating supply? Like, why are we there? It doesn't make any sense. So that's the other problem, right? So, okay, we reduced that amount and we shot. Now we're reducing more. We're still going down. It means that there's a bigger piece of the pie that's about to explode, right? Because people aren't catching on to it. People are not aware of it. They're not understanding the whole concept of the value of SHIB. And that's the whole driver behind the everybody wanting to take part in the whole SHIB economics. The more money you make in SHIB, the more happier you are. So you see more and more value being added. You should be happy. You should be excited. You should be rocking. Your blood should start pumping. Billion SHIB removed from circulating supply. That should get your blood going, right? That should get you pumped up. And should it pump up the price? Eventually. But at this point, it gives you an opportunity to buy more because you're seeing the value being added and people taking away from that value by shorting it or trading it, but that's on them. They look at the charts, they see the flags, they take part in those. But the thing is, SHIB isn't like anything they have ever seen in their entire lifetime. Imagine a bank account that never loses, right? And then what do? They just continually reduce the circulating supply. So it's gaining in value, but the people don't want to take that value. They take it at face value and say, I don't think so. Well, you kidding me? That's what you're doing. You're taking the land and you're selling it for less. You're taking your little piece of land that's imploded now, not twice its size, but it's less than 1%. But you've gained more land. Doesn't matter. You gain more land. What is that land worth to you? Less now or more now? Well, if you have more land, shouldn't it be worth more? Absolutely. So name something that you gain more land and you want to sell it for less money. Name one piece in the world. Land has only gone up in value, hasn't it? Because it's adding value. Land gains in value. So you're willing to sell your land for less money even though you have more of it. Does that make any sense to anybody? Land's always going up in value. SHIB's always going up in value, but you have no problem selling it for less than what you paid for it. Does that make any sense to anybody? That makes zero sense to everybody. Now, if you're selling it for pennies on the glass, 5-6% higher, 5 or 6% higher at 13.855 is still nothing. It's still less than a penny, guys. Still less than a penny. So anything less than a penny, no one should be selling it because it's always adding value. If something's always adding value to you, it's giving you money back in your pocket. So that's why we gave the 14,887.91 was given back to every single investor in SHIB. Every single investor benefited from it. Now you don't see it, no problem. Take your losses, get out. If you made 10%, 5%, and you're happy with it, get out. It's that simple. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it. No one's going to tell you what to do with your money, right? And no analyst is going to cover SHIB on its own. It's too damn small. It's number 12 or number 15 or number 16 on the in the top 20. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It could be at number 1, and everybody treating it like every other cryptocurrency out there. But it's not the same. You name one cryptocurrency that's reducing its circulating supply constantly, every single day, or roughly every single day, SHIB reduces its circulating supply. Name one currency that does that. None of them do, and none of them that have zero governance, because there's only 2 cryptocurrencies that have zero governance. No matter what someone says or what you've looked at and it says there's a CEO in SHIB, there isn't. Shiba Inu IO has a CEO because it's their website. It's their name that's driven to SHIB. But SHIB IO has got nothing to do with SHIB. Zero. SHIB is 100% for investors, by investors. Period. So what does SHIB have to offer? Value. Value, value, value. So you want more property, you stay in SHIB because you're going to get more and more property as we reduce more and more circulating supply. And with the raffle, all the raffle is going to do is speed things up drastically. So the minimum amount of people to buy SHIB raffle tickets is 1,032 to host an event. Okay, if they buy 20 tickets per person. That's it. So 1,032 people, is that reasonable? From the world with 4 million people, 4 billion people on the planet that can possibly buy tickets. Is that reasonable? Could we do that? Could we get 80,000 to 100,000 tickets being bought every single day from SHIB5050raffle.com? Is that possible with 4 billion people on the planet? It's not even 2%, guys. Not even 2% of the population. Not even 1% of the population. Not even 0.5% of the population of the world taking part in a, maybe they can't afford to take part every day. Maybe they can't afford to take part every week. Maybe they can't afford to take part every other week. But you can start to see the math behind it. That 100,000 to 200,000, 500,000 is very reasonable for every single person every month to buy a ticket. Now, when the tickets start getting up there in value, and I mean that once we start reaching the 4,100,000, that gives us 1 million pounds worth of SHIB to go to some lucky winner. Obviously, that's going to be a driving force behind the SHIB Worldwide 50/50 raffle. Okay, because all of a sudden everybody wants to take part in it because now it's going to pay them at least. But you got to remember that after 4,100,000, the next draw is going to be 8,200,000 before we have another winner. And then then goes on, right? So 30 million, 40 million. Now that becomes a little more unsustainable. But if the price continue to rise, people are going to have, as the raffles start to take off, people get happy because they start to see the benefits of reduction, and they get to see the wealth creation if somebody wins, because I have a better chance of winning because it's 1 out of 4 million tickets, and I have 20 tickets, so that means I have less than 1 million chances of winning. 1 in 1 million. I have more chance of winning that than winning at home. Makes sense? Because there's more winners at £1 million per person in SHIB, not the other way around, right? So that gives you more opportunity, and it's a worldwide event. It's a worldwide draft on that. So that helps benefit everybody on the planet. We want to say massive love shout out to Ethan M, massive love to Jason M, massive love shout out to Aiden. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. I don't have very much news on SHIB right now. I know that the SHIB.io has got a new plan, but they've had this before. They always make draft of or light of the situation that they're imposing on people with a card or with new circumstances that are coming into SHIB. Those, please take them with a grain of salt. Doesn't mean a whole lot. All it is to try to push their products. And those products are not SHIB related. Okay, they come out and say SHIB. Everybody comes out and says SHIB, but they're not talking about SHIB. They're talking about other aspects of their narratives that they're pushing, their Shiboshis, their Satoshis, Treat, Leash, Bone, the SHIB metaverse, which I haven't heard nothing about since Lucy's come out and made a statement. But again, it's got to do with the SHIB.io ecosystem development team. And we don't cover too much of them because if they did what they were supposed to do in the first place, which was help drive awareness for SHIB, period, and do what they promised, keep SHIB on the gas fees on Shibarium, it would have changed everything, right? It would have solidified them for the whole SHIB community, and it probably would have benefited them in the long term on Bone, Leash, and the metaverse and their game. Even though they only kept one part of their promise, it's still one part of the promise that they would have kept, but they couldn't even do that. So if you can't keep your word, what happens? You lose people, and you lose them big. And when you gain in value, we're gaining in value right now. So every time we gain in value, we're supposed to be increasing the price. Supposed to be, but that's in theory. And as we talked about in theory, SHIB should never go down because we're always increasing its value. Thank you, everybody. Have a great and wonderful day. I wish you nothing but the best. And this is Will, your host, saying we're going to rock you out. Thanks, Jason Cox, for coming. Woo-wee. I was hoping that you'd get on here and talk a little bit more than what you did, but that's okay. Babes, nice chatting with you. Thanks for making a shout out to Jason Cox. It's awesome. Want to make sure that everybody gets the message for everybody in the world that SHIB is adding value. And when one SHIB gets to that value target that you have been looking for a long time, and it finally gets there, hopefully it's in a few months. God knows. God only knows, right, when it's going to explode. But it will happen. And this is Will, your host, saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night from where you are in the world. We're going to rock you out. Woo! Woo! It's been a pleasure. Jesus loves each and every one of you. God bless you. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully everybody in your family and friends are doing well. Hopefully everybody has a chance to prosper in SHIB. I want to make sure we get as many people as possible. Tell as many as you can, because this is absolutely phenomenal. And when I was talking about Michael Burry, I understand what his problems were when the rest of the markets weren't paying attention to him. I get it. It takes an enormous amount of patience with people to tell them, listen, the housing bubble is a bubble, right? And you had a hell of a time trying to convince people. Even when the foreclosures were happening at alarming rates, month after month, 1 million homes liquidated. Are you kidding me? And people were still asking for their money. It's like, wow, yeah, that's how insane people are. They just don't realize what that means. And that's why he put a freeze on it, because he's like, hey, I don't want anyone doing anything stupid and panicking right now, because we went from 4% to 8% to 29%. And then the amount of returns, 487% gains. Back in 2008, the big collapse, right? And he's having a hell of a time trying to convince people. I'm having the same problem. The exact same problem. Trying to convince people, listen, this is where value is. This is where value is added. Only currency in the world doing it. Adding value to you. And it costs you nothing to get in. That's the best part. That's awesome. And when can SHIB explode? When you realize it. And can anyone tell you any different? They shouldn't be able to. You should be looking at it going, it's adding value for me. That's amazing. Why hasn't anyone else talked about this way? How come no one's talking about it? I don't know. I don't get it myself. I honestly don't understand it. Anyway, this is Will, your host. Hope you had a great show. Remember, we're here to make you money. An insane amount of money. Insane. How insane. I love this guy. He's prophetic. Insane amount of money. It's prophetic. It's abusive. Right, Jason? It's abusive. Pretty Woman. Remember Pretty Woman? That's the line from it where he takes her shopping on Rodeo Drive. Remember that, Jason? Yeah. I can't remember the actor's name. I'm sure someone will figure it out and get back to me with that actor's name. Anyway, I'm Will, your host. Thank you so much. And thanks for coming in and taking the time to come in and be part of something bigger than yourself and understanding what it means to add value. I'm sorry the rest of them haven't caught on to it yet. 2.5 trillion SHIB traded in the last 2 hours. That's awesome, but it's on the downside, which baffles the piss out of me. You reduce that much circulating supply, and then people want to sell it. That's the way it works. That's the cookie crumble. 410 trillion was reduced back in 2021. The exact same thing happened. 20% liquidity. Boom, baby! And then multi-millionaires were made. Remember that? Multi-millionaires were made. Some of them were even billionaires who cashed out when it reached all-time highs. Insanity, my friends. Insanity. And will it happen again? Absolutely, it'll happen. It'll happen 100 times better than what it did last time. Why? Reductions, baby. Constant reductions, adding value. Reductions, more people start catching on. You figure it out. When people start realizing it's adding value, everybody in the world wants to jump into it. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody starts to look at it and go, wow, I can make money in this. The only problem that you're going to have is central banks trying to steal it from you. And I do mean that. They will try and liquidate your assets by telling you that it's worthless. Just like they did with Bitcoin, confiscating it, telling everybody that it's bad. But if you looked at the currencies all over the world that use to buy drugs, guns, and rock and roll, you're saying the same thing about them. Exact same thing about them. I'm Will, your host. Thank you so much. God bless each and every one of you. Take good care and have a great, wonderful day. Thanks for coming in and taking part in today's show. Boom, out of here. SHIB to the moon, baby.